Hey fam, it's your girl Charlotte. I am working on one of many projects. Finally finishing up a hydration vest that I created out of recycled blue jean material. So I cut out this little thing here, and then I used it on the front pockets. And so I'm super excited. I thought I would just sit here this morning. It's a Sunday morning, and I finished up a couple of orders for Vestapack, which is actually on sale. So if you don't know and you want one, you might want to go ahead and order one. But we do have plenty, so feel free to order one. And so I just thought I would come on this morning and just share, allow you guys to be with me on my journey. Like, I think a lot of people don't realize that how I started my business was I hacked stuff together. I sure did. Um, I lived in Ann Arbor at the time, and they allowed you to check out the sewing machine from the library. And I would check out the sewing machine. Now, mind you, I hadn't sewn since I was in home ec back in, I think the last home ec class I took was back in junior high. I do remember sewing a little bit during high school. What was it? For senior prom, I wanted a purple dress. I was a big girl, so there was no purple big girl dresses. And so my friend from church, Mary Foster, if you out there, hello. Her family, she came from a big family. So they sewed and made a lot of their clothes. But they always was looking good. So I think a lot of times we always had a kind of bias against people that sew their own clothes. But there are a lot of people who sew their own clothes, and their clothes look better than than the ones you got from the store. Tell the truth, shame the devil. And so she helped me make my little purple prom dress. Mind you, I grew up Pentecostal, Church of God in Christ, honey. So my behind really wasn't supposed to be going to the prom, but my mama let me. And my mama was good about, I will say this about my mother, she was good about, there were some things that, that were required of the church, but she didn't really she didn't enforce that with us, because I think she wanted us to, be able to have some different types of experiences that maybe she didn't have. And so we didn't always have to follow all those super religious rules. Like, I don't think you really were supposed to be ever go to like a dance or a club or any of that kind of stuff. So, but anyway, she felt like, it's high school, we only live once. I'm almost 100% sure that my mother did not get to go. I don't know if she didn't go to her prom or not. Maybe they just didn't have one. I'm not sure. But I know that, she was super open to me going. I don't remember having any, we didn't have any issues around that. She was like, you want to go? And she made it her business too. I need to tell you, I have an office at Saltbox, which I totally love, because not only is it just a great space for me to work out of, but also I can store stuff. So it's like a warehouse. They also do fulfillment. So there's just lots of different nice little benefits to being in this space, and I totally love it. And I love that one of the co-owners is an African American man. So I'm supporting a black owned, partially black owned business. Love that opportunity to do that. Means a lot to me. As I mind my own black business. And so I'm just here this morning working on this blue jean one. It's more of just a little fun project for me to work on. Like I said, I just got through with some orders, and so I was like, oh, I want to do something that's fun, not work. That doesn't feel like kind of like business work, even though I don't mind any of it. But and so, like I said, so in the beginning, I used to hack. I used to sew. I checked out a sewing machine from the library, and I would hack stuff together. And what would happen is I would buy I think what ended up happening was I found a hydration vest, maybe it was a pack or a vest. I know what happened was I had one pack and one vest. And I won't say the name of the brands because y'all know better. Anyways, and so what I did is I bought their biggest sizes. One was actually one I bought on eBay. It was gently used supposedly, and it was gently used. It wasn't nothing wrong with that thing. That thing was great. As a matter of fact, that and I remember I I tried to get the guy to sell it to me for a little cheaper, and I think he did. I think he gave it to me just a little bit cheaper. I think he wanted like $100, and I ended up only paying $75. Because I just was like, as much as I was excited about, you know, finally getting my own vest and all that kind of stuff, like that money, like at the time, spending that kind of money on a hydration vest, just part of it too was like, I was telling somebody, which is why I kind of understand why, you know, as a business owner, I really got to talk to y'all about this vest because $175 is not cheap. And when I was first starting out, there's no way I would have spent that kind of money. So I get it. However, once I got to a certain point, I was definitely willing to pay that money because it was just kind of like shoes. Like at the beginning, I tried to get by with cheap shoes, but when you're running a lot of miles on shoes, them shoes wear out in like a couple days. And so at least my shoes would, like if I bought a cheap pair of shoes, honey, I would wear them out within a month. And so I learned to buy more expensive shoes that could last for more miles. And so, and the truth was, for me, at least as it relates to hydration packs and vests, is the ones that were on the market, they just were always ill-fitting. Oh, they got on my nerves. Lord. And then, you know, I got big boobies, and I'm a bigger-bodied woman, and it was just like, really? I just decided, like, I'm gonna hack something together, right? Because I had some races to do, and I didn't want to, you know, I wanted to have a vest for those races, and so I just started hacking because I couldn't really afford to buy. Although, when I'm thinking about it, I probably spent just as much money on buying 2 different packs at 2 different sizes had I just bought one. But the problem was, even if I had saved up the money and bought one, it wasn't going to fit. So, kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Anyways, so, like I said in the beginning, I think a lot of times people are like, oh, I just kind of like, I guess, white labeling things. I'm like, no, boo-boo, I started from scratch. I started from, like, beginning. And I make patterns. There's like, yeah, I got a whole bunch of patterns. Because I really was committed to making sure that I created something that really worked and that people would enjoy, and that when they wore it, they would feel good. Like, that is my greatest goal, achievement, compliment you can give me when you say, oh my gosh, Charlotte, this thing fits so good, it's so comfortable. Yes, thank you. That's what I was trying to do. As someone who had suffered a lot of rug burns and carrying on from wearing expensive hydration packs and vests that really weren't designed for my body, you know, my primary goal has always been to make sure I create something that people really can feel good about and feel good in. So, yeah, so I started off sewing. That's why I got a sewing machine right here. Y'all want to see the sewing machine right quick? Well, yeah, there's that sewing machine here, but then there's another one here that I work with. This is the brother. The reason I'm not working with my Singer one is because and then you can see here, oh, there's some stuff there. But also I want you to see my super expensive Serger Baby Lock Accolade. Anyways, I'm gonna stop doing this because I can't really do this correctly, and y'all probably get dizzy with me moving that thing around. Anyways, the reason why I'm not using the Singer one is because I went to a sewing class and the woman put on something on there. I forgot what it's called, but anyways, I realized I don't even know how to take it off. So it's probably super simple, but it's just like, it's like a, I don't know what you call it. I'll probably figure out the name of it and put it at the bottom of this video later on. Well, what it did was, it was good at, I'll use that machine a lot of times. I'm working on binding right now. The way I do binding, I don't really need to use that. But sometimes when I'm doing certain aspects of working on the vest, I'll use it because, especially when I'm using ripstock, maybe if I'm working with a layer with the ripstock, it helps to, what is it called? Walking foot, maybe? Maybe it's called walking foot, something like that. Anyway, it like smashes the fabric and then it like moves it along. Love that thing. So I won't take it off because I don't want to have to put it back on. I'm like, it's on, let's keep it on. It works. Because even though I sew and I have a lot of experience and I feel like I'm a good, decent sewer, I still get a little intimidated by these machines and make it, like, just yesterday I went to the store where I bought the serger because I felt like the threading wasn't working. And girl, it was just like, because I would push on the button thingy that threads, because it's called whisper threading or whatever it's called. Anyways, it takes air and it moves the thread along. So anyways, I kept pressing the button, it wasn't working. The woman was like, you gotta just kind of hold it for a couple seconds. I packed that thing up, took it on over to that store for her to tell me, just need to hold it down for a couple more seconds. And it was just that simple. When I came back here and I did it again, that's what I did. Held it down for a couple more seconds, and guess what? It worked. I was happy that was what happened, because if it would have been needed a repair, I would have been a little freaked out. But anyways, so okay, I don't even know where I was at with my story. Anyway, so I started hacking. So I say all that to say that, I started this brand not just kind of like white labeling or just finding something and just making it bigger. No, I really went through the design process, and I've gone through lots of different designs. And one day I'm gonna do a video. I'm gonna show y'all, like, I don't know if you saw over there when I showed you the other machine. I have a coat rack full of my designs over the years when I was testing, and so, oh, no. Yes, no, okay, anyways, I see what happened. Anyways, that's okay. So anyways, I started with sewing them together, hacking them together. So I took two, it was like a pack and a vest, and I bought the largest sizes I could buy, and then I tore them apart. And what I did is I took sections of each thing. So like the back, which is why Vestapack is made the way it is that I always liked the more ripstock back of the pack, meaning, has that waterproof kind of papery, like, it's not really paper, but anyways, it just feels, I don't know what you would call it, just, feels a certain way. It's super waterproof, you can tell by touching it, it's waterproof type of material on the back, because I was somebody who had done a lot of races, and then I live in Michigan, and rain, so a lot of times I'd be out, be raining, carrying on, and then I'd be at races, and it seemed like invariably it would always rain. And so I liked having that kind of crisp, protective, waterproof, protective back. Like a lot of times with the vest, they had a stretchy material, and I guess to a degree they were waterproof, but not in the way that I wanted them to be. So, so that's what ended up happening. I kind of got I was attracted to that kind of back, but then I liked the vest front. So what I ended up doing was cutting away the front panels from a vest and sizing, and then I ended up buying, well, this is what I did. So I bought a vest, the largest I could get, and then I took it apart, and then I took the front panels and I made like a pattern. All right, so I took the pattern and I put it on me, and then I was like, that's too small. We already knew that. But that didn't allow me to kind of measure, and figure out, like, okay, how big would I want this? And so now I have my own patterns. Like, I can show you right now. I'm going to show you the front panel. Like, here's, like, the front panel. Like, it's nice. Like, I figured out how to make it so that it, fit the way I wanted it to fit, right? because the one on the pack that I bought, it was just too small. It didn't even fit over my boobs, and why buy something that ain't gonna fit over your boobs? Anyways, and so, and then I bought fabric, and I tried different types of fabric. Mind you, I was just going to Joann's because I didn't know anything else. And I would buy a lot of things on the sales rack and a trial and error, and I learned. So I originally started out with canvas material, and then I tried to find stretch canvas material, and then I started with some spandex, you know, like leggings, yoga material, and some of that stuff worked, but it really wasn't until, so that was like 2019, maybe 18, 19, I was hacking stuff together. I tell people I didn't even know how to sew very well either. Like some of my earlier inventions had, like, I used a stapler, I used duct tape. I think on a couple I had bobby pins. What do you call them? Paper clips. I had these kind of clips. I had, I just had whatever I could find around the house to kind of keep keep stuff together. And I'm kind of not mad at myself for that because I really feel like I was, really trying to figure it out. And also, like, there were times when I would be heading out in the morning for a race, right? Or for a training run, and I really wanted to test it out. And so I had to work with whatever I had because, like, that's what I had to do. And so, I don't know what's going on with the lights, but maybe it'll get better in a minute. Anyways, sorry about the light here. And this little camera thingy, I don't know what's going on with it either. Anyway, so, I tried, and then, then what happened too was I would go to the thrift store and I would buy, like, I found some hydration vest-like thingies, and and then I would find clothing that had the kind of fabric I thought I wanted on a hydration vest, and I would cut all that stuff and heck up with that too. So I just was, I would try a lot of different things, but more importantly, I was trying to find out not only fabrics and textiles, but like what was going to fit for me and what was going to work. So I think one of the early ones, I had like pockets on the sides, and I found that to be not, I feel like the pockets on the sides can work. I just felt like it didn't need zippers, for example. I felt like it could be like just a double layer, like it could be two pieces of fabric, right? And then maybe one's a little lower than the other one, and then that way you could just fit your stuff in there. So that's not true of Vestapack, but maybe that'll be true for the next iteration. I did find, I knew what I did. Okay, guys, so I tried lots of different types of buckles. I also tried zippers. Like, I was like, I'm gonna do a zipper. We're gonna zip this thing up. Zippers are gonna be the future in hydration vests. No, it ain't, honey. First of all, I can't stand zippers. As a result of all that testing with the zippers. Plus, I just kept finding, like I would make something, it would be zippered, and then the zipper would work for a while, and then it wouldn't. And I was like, I don't want people getting stuff, and then it didn't work. Also, I found sometimes I would zip clothing up in the zipper. I think at one point in time, I think I just had a sports bra on, and I was zipping it up, and it zipped my stomach. It was like, okay, don't laugh. Anyway, so it was like a mess. So I was like, no, I'm not doing zippers. And I had bought a whole bunch of zippers because I was going to make a whole bunch of vests, and zippers was the wave of the future. I still have those zippers over there. Whole big box of them. Anyways, everyone a zipper, let me know. And so, and then I did, I wish I could show, I don't know if I have it here or not. But anyways, I did this, then I changed up. I was like, okay, no zipper. I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't know how to really sew very well at the beginning, and so buckles were hard to do. Hard to put that webbing on the buckle, and I was like, oh Jesus, I know how to do that. I now know how to do that like an expert. Like what? You can give me any buckle, any piece of webbing, and I can figure it out. But in the beginning I was like super scared, didn't really know how to do it, so I was like struggled with that. So buckles kind of became a really wasn't exactly the thing for me to use because I just didn't know how to sew it. And once I know how to sew it, then I started using buckles all the time, and I still use buckles to this day. But I also was trying to do, like, one of the things that happened early on too is I hired a designer, and we were like, oh, we're gonna do this thing where it's like a flap. So we had the manufacturer produce it, but then I don't know. I'm gonna go back and look at that again. I need to go find it, and then I think I might go back to that one again because I think it might. And I don't know. So it was like 2021. I remember I went to the bigger show and I went to Outdoor Retailer, and I had little pictures of these laminated pictures of this design because I was like, this is the future of hydration vest. And people loved it. People really did love it. But when I finally got the design and we did a couple of different iterations, I didn't love it so much. Really didn't love it so much. And so I was like, okay. I think the reason why I didn't like it was not so much I didn't like it. I think it was the way the manufacturer made it. Because now that I'm looking at it, I looked at a couple, like about a month or two ago, because when I was moving in here, I came across it. It just wasn't made the way I wanted it. I feel like it could be promising. Could be promising. Maybe I'll make one, send it out to some people like I did my earlier versions, and see what they say. So again, I just hacked for a while, and then I finally I finally figured out how hydration is a mess by industrial designer. So I hired an industrial designer. He helped me design some things. I didn't like anything because it wasn't really my vision. I felt like between the designer and the manufacturing plant, they kept trying to like coax me into going back to designing it like the traditional hydration packs and vests, and I'm like, they don't work for bigger bodies, so no. And so, but they just really weren't hearing me out, and I realized at one point in time, like, you're just gonna have to figure out how to design this yourself, and keep going. Well, just I think so, for me it was like, you're gonna have to figure out, maybe you have to figure out how to design it yourself, but more importantly, like, don't bend on this. Like, this is your vision, go for your vision. Because if you look at some of my early ones, not the early ones when I was in the design innovation phase, research and development phase, but when I first, like, there's this one that I sent to REI to go in their founders market in Seattle, and it had webbing on the side. I now cringe every time I see that one, because it's like, oh, because that really wasn't my vision. But what happened was I kept working with these manufacturers. I kept trying to say, oh, no, you need to do this, and this is the way it's done, and blah, blah, blah. And so I kept being like, I don't know, a little convinced to do it that way. But something in me was like, nah, boo, we are not doing it this way. And I'll never forget when I sent that one to REI, I was like, I'm so embarrassed because this is not what I want. It is not what I want. And it was in that moment that I was like, I remember telling guys, I said, look, that's not what I want. I want the vision that I have, which is a vest. And I wanted to have nice sides, right? These nice kind of sides made out of whatever. I didn't care. I mean, I knew exactly what I wanted to be made out of, but I wanted the sides to be nice, and then I want the flaps to be hug your boobies and just lay flat and like feel good. And I wasn't wedded to whether or not it was the buckles, no, I don't want no zippers or whatever, you know what I mean? I didn't care how it was kind of, how it fastened. I just knew like how I wanted to lay on the body, how I wanted to fit, because that was the feedback that I got from so many bigger bodied ultrarunners. So I kind of had been bamboozled into producing it a certain way, and I'm not saying that people made me do anything. I think I was just a new entrepreneur. I didn't know, and I was trusting people. And it's all good. I would say this. I'll never say that was a bad thing to trust them. They were only sharing with me what they knew, but at the end of the day, I realized that wasn't. I said to God, I said, look, this is not what I want, and I'm not going to be able to do this business making a vest that I can't be proud of, and a vest that I can't wear comfortably. Because even I couldn't wear that thing. I didn't even wear that thing. I never wore it. It's like, I would let so many people try it on. I would give it away, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't like it. And I'll never forget, I was at this, I got opportunity to go to a pop-up event, and I had the vest, and I was like, people try it on, and they were like, oh yeah, it's okay, you know what I mean? And I was like, yep, it's just okay. And it wasn't fierce, fabulous, and comfortable. And so that's when I realized, like, no, like, I'm not doing this. And so sure enough, I really said, fuck it, I'm not doing country gear. Because I can't produce what it is I have. Like, I know what it is that I want to do. And I know what it is, not just based on what I want to do, but it's the feedback that I've gotten from bigger body folk. So I was like, fuck it. I'm not doing conscious gear anymore. I'm done. And scene. That's when I got into the Target Pro Bono Design Program. And they're like, what do you want? I was like, and I was mad. By then I was like, look, I didn't care. Like, I need a manufacturer. So if you can help me with that, cool. If not, y'all can, somebody else could take the spot. Because I was like, I was just that fed up. I was like, and no, I didn't say that to them like that. I said it like that to them in my head only. Okay? So anyway, so I say to them, oh, I want to do manufacturing, you know, manufacturer. Or help me with the process of learning how to work with a manufacturer. But my team at Target was like, nah, girl. We gonna get you a manufacturer. Okay? Yes, we're going to leave you with the tools to be able to work with manufacturers, but we don't have a manufacturer. And guess what? They did. Not only did they have one, there was like 4 or 5 different companies that came to the fore and was like, we'll help you make it. And I tell people, like, I went from crying about this company, giving up on this company, to like it was like several days in a row, these companies sent me samples because I had a tech pack. And I was like, what the front door? I was like, you know, because for me, it'd been hard to get, it would take like 6 months for me to get a sample because we have to go back and forth about all this different stuff. And then also with money, I was like, give me a few months to raise money. So, so here I am in the Target Pro Bono program, and they just send the stuff out for free. And so, sure enough, I decided to go with this one company because this one company said, what do you want? Not what you think you should be making, but what do you want? And I told her exactly what I want, and they went about the business of designing it. Yeah, and we went back and forth, and I had several samples, and here we are with the one that we have. And so, yeah, I think people, I don't know what people think. Maybe you guys just think I'm brilliant and I just come up with this stuff all by myself. I wish. But it's been a journey, and I enjoyed the journey. I feel committed to the journey. We need some blue thread for this blue thing. And so, yeah, I just feel like I learned, these are some things that I learned. I learned a lot about textiles, which has been super fun. Like, oh my God, like I just thought fabric was fabric. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I knew fabric was different, and I knew there was different kinds of fabric, but honestly, I didn't really know much about textiles. But then I learned so much about textiles. And I'm gonna say right now, if you're making a kind of product, I don't care what kind of product it is, gear or clothing or apparel or gear, man, we live in a day and time where there is so much innovation around stuff. You can make stuff, and then with 3D printing, oh my God, like, you know, the sky's the limit. So that's number one thing. I learned a lot about textiles, and also like realizing, oh wow, I don't have to just settle for duck canvas, which is what I thought I was gonna have to settle for when I first started, because that was the only thing at Joann Fabrics that seemed to fit. Although they did have ripstock, but it was so thin and cheap, I didn't like it. I didn't want to use it. Well, I used it sometimes. Sometimes I would double layer it because I was like, oh God. But then I realized, oh, there's different deniers of ripstock, which is by my folks at Ripstock on the Road. educated me about that. Just went to their website and they pretty much educated me all about that. So I was like super excited about learning about all that stuff. I learned a lot about trimmings, and when I went to Outdoor Retailer, I'm just grabbing a scrap. If you wonder what I'm doing, I'm grabbing a scrap piece of fabric because I just put this thread in. I always test my thread on a piece of fabric similar to the fabric that I'm going to use. So that's what I'm doing. Anyways, oh shit. Okay. My sewing machine is on the what I call the triple stitch because I was working on a vest and I like to triple stitch it in certain areas to make sure that customers get a good quality product. Yes. So anyways, make sure it's durable and it stays together. So anyways, so like I said, I learned a lot about textiles. I learned a lot about trimmings, different trimmings. I learned a lot about the manufacturing process. I learned so much about the manufacturing process that I became more sympathetic and understanding of why things are the way they are. Because at first I was frustrated. I was like, why you guys charge me $1 million for a sample? Well, the reason why they charge you a lot of money for a sample is because they don't know if you're going to come back and actually make the product with them. And so, you know, they've had this, people say, oh, well, they had to stop the line to make your product, all that stuff. That's bullshit. You know that they probably have a day where they make samples for different people. So, but also you gotta understand that they gotta compile all this. They gotta compile all the things they need to make your product, just one or two or three. So I get that it's like, it's time consuming. Like it's one thing for you to say, oh, I want to make 10,000 of them. Then they get all this fabric. The time it takes them to get all the fabric for one, they could be using that same time to get fabric to make 1,000. So I get it, even though I don't. And so, I learned like, hang on guys, I'm trying to put I got my needle on this, I don't know what that is. Anyway, okay, I got my needle on the triple stitch, which I don't need it on anymore. So anyways, I learned that you need a pattern. So if you're making something, you need a pattern. I learned that there's a process to making things, and I was like, oh wow, just I was always going to the store, and I just always bought stuff, so I didn't really know, I didn't know how it got made, and had no appreciation for any of that stuff because I didn't know anything about it. I'm gonna stand up for a minute to see if the other light will come on in here, because after a while, sometimes these lights come off, and I'm looking dark in the camera. Hold on a second. Yeah, I meant to mention to that. I need to talk to him about that because I'll be in the middle of sewing and the whole place will go dark except for the light on my sewing machine. Can't have that. Anyway, so I learned to chat. Okay, this is what I learned. First of all, you have an idea. First of all, you got to get it. You got to sketch it out on paper because it can't just be in your head. You got to sketch it on paper, even if the sketch is just janky. You got to put it on paper, and then you got to figure out how to take that paper version that you sketched out and get it in a sketchable format that maybe other people can understand, that other humans can understand. It doesn't have to be perfect or anything like that, but that's what Fiverr is for. I use Fiverr for that. I have several people that I work with on Fiverr. Oh, I at least worked with years ago. I don't know if they're still on there now. And so, you get yourself, get it drawn out. Because, like I said, until it's on paper, guys, it's just in your head. You can verbalize it, even then, it's still in your head. And in order for you to get to a point of seeing the product manifest, you gotta at least draw it on paper. So that's what I did. And I hired somebody from Fiverr to make a drawing that I could give to whoever. there's a local organization here called Fabrique, and I first started with them, and they were helpful. They helped, yeah, I paid them to do a drawing. Yeah, I ended up paying because I got something from Fiber, but that was, for $5, so it wasn't like all that special. But then I needed next level, like pre kind of tech pack drawing. And so I had them do that. This organization called Fabrique. And so, but it really didn't, the drawing, what I realized too is the drawing that they did, it didn't look right. But no fault of theirs, really. They weren't gear makers, and then also too, I didn't know how to explain. So the second thing that you learn, okay, not only is you got to get the idea out of your head and put it on paper, is that you will learn, depending on what you're making, that there is a language that goes with that product. Like a whole foreign language. I mean, it's not really a foreign, it's not foreign as in geographical, but foreign in terms of like, you don't talk that way every day. But it's the language that you have to use when you're making that particular product. And that's something you have to you end up having to learn the language, So I make a hydration vest. There's different type of textiles. There's different kinds of stitchings, textiles, trimmings, layering. So trimmings is a lot, from binding to fasteners to, for instance, I have a piece of webbing inside of my hydration vest that we sometimes either put Velcro on or we put snaps. We now only do snaps. I don't fuck with Velcro no more. And, not that anything's wrong with Velcro. I'm not saying that, but I don't know. Sometimes I got tired of Velcro. Anyway, so we use snaps on, and it has to be snapped a certain way because what happens is water bladders that I use, the opening is only so large. So the larger side of the snap, a lot of times won't go through there, and you could stick it through there, and it will work. It will. You can get it through there. It won't do any damage or anything like that, but it's just a pain in the butt. Whereas on the other side of the fastener, the flatter side, you stick it right through and it's fine. So, so stuff like that, Also, this is like a little crooked, but I don't know. I guess it won't really matter if it's crooked because ain't nobody gonna be able to tell it's crooked but me. Okay. Anyways, so, so you have to learn the language so you can talk to people about stuff. For instance, with outdoor gear and apparel, we talk a lot about deniers, so that's the weight of the fabric. We also talk about being water propellant, talk about TPUs, and there's rules and regulations about how much of that stuff you can have in your products for certain states like California. California is very heavily regulated around textiles and materials, and so you have to know that kind of stuff, BPA, just all those terms that you're like, okay, I read that on NPR, but what? Why I gotta know all that now? That's just what you gotta know in order to kind of be able to manufacture. Understand there's phases of manufacturing too, right? There's a sample making process. Everybody talks about the sample making process, and yes, you're gonna hate it. No, you're not gonna completely hate it, but this is the problem with the sample. I think, yeah. Let me say this. Let's talk about the sample making process for just 1 minute. I'm almost done getting it sewed up on the side, so that I'm talking about it. But I'm just go ahead and talk about it while I'm sewing. Look, people get frustrated with the sample making process, but the sample making process is designed to make sure that the manufacturer is making exactly what you want. So there's nothing to be mad about. Sometimes it's long and arduous, right? However, I'm gonna say this. The more you know the language of how, if you know the more you know the language around your product and its manufacturing process, the easier it is and the simpler it is your sample process is going to go. It's when you don't know the language, when you're a beginner, and then you depend on these other people to be able to read your mind, right? And trust me, they don't. Let me say this about manufacturers. Oh, they will read your mind. You'll say, oh, make me a hydration vest for big fat people. And they'll make you something. And it won't be anything that you wanted, right? And then they're like, okay, pay the $2,000 invoice plus shipping. And then you get it. And you're like, you get that shit in the mail at home. And you're like, I just spent $2,000 on this shit. And this shit don't even look like what I wanted. Well, it's not your fault. I mean, it's not their fault. It's yours because you didn't tell them what you wanted, and so you made them try to read your mind. I tell people the best thing you can do when it relates to manufacturing your product is don't let them read your mind. Make sure you have all the information that you need, that you are able to send it to them, so they don't read your mind. They do what you want, because when this is what happens too. This is what I love. I've worked with manufacturers and I've sent them tech packs and they have not produced what was in the tech pack, and I'm like, my tech pack said this, and this, and you didn't do that. So then it forces them to have to go back to the drawing table and redo it again. And then you don't have to pay them no extra money because they did not produce the tech pack. But you don't know that, right? You don't know. You're thinking, oh, I need to pay enough. No. No, you don't. You tell them, look, these are the discrepancies in what you produced versus what's in my tech pack. So then you empower yourself. Oh man, I just remember just being at the mercy of these companies and spending money, honey, that I did not have. Although I was winning a little money here and there, like I think, my first time I won $10,000. But then I spent like $3,000 or $4,000 on samples. Like, okay, that money's almost halfway gone, and we ain't even produced no product. And not to say, you know what I mean? It was like, not to mention, like, if I wanted to produce a bulk of it, it was gonna cost me way more than $10,000. So, anyways. So learning the language is really going to be helpful, because then it empowers. When you learn that language and you know how to talk to manufacturers, it empowers you. I don't know why. See, this light keeps going off. Anyways, I won't worry about it. It annoys me though. I'm going to report that. I'm going to talk to my people. Anyways, when you know the language and you're able to talk to your manufacturer, then you can get more done, and then you can get it quicker. People are like, oh my God, it took us like 2 years to, get our manufacturing down. That sounds like somebody who just, first of all, had money. Not only they had money, they had time. I ain't mad at you because you got the money and the time. Girlfriend did not. I did not have all that fucking money and time. And so, for me, it's like, that's a sign like you don't really know what you're doing, and more importantly, you're not really empowering yourself to know what to do so that you can do it quicker. Because it's like, even now I'm gonna do a little collection of clothing, apparel, and the woman I'm working with is like, Lord have mercy, like, you know everything. I know everything. Like, I have my tech pack already ready. I know exactly what kind of fabric I want. I already know the stitches. I know how I want it to design. I want to know what it look like. I'm willing to compromise on fabric if it is close enough to what it is I want. I already know, like, Pantone motherfucking colors. I already know I have my digital vector file for the prints that I want to use. Like, what? No, because y'all not ripping me off again. If y'all know anything about Charlotte, like, once you rip Charlotte off once, it ain't gonna happen again, because I don't like giving away money, because that's what it feels like. You just giving it away. So anyways, so learning the language will help you feel more empowered, because, oh my God, like, these people, I mean, you could say, oh, the manufacturers are assholes, and maybe they are. But but at the same time, you can empower yourself to be one up on them, right? So that you're not spending extra money on stuff and process that you don't have to, because you know what it is you want, and you know how to communicate it, and you know what you need to do so that they can deliver as well. They're not going to say to you, oh, you need to tell us X, Y, and Z. You need to know that, unfortunately. They're just there to make it. They're not there for anything else. And that's a hard pill to swallow, because you think, oh, well, they should be more kind and doing more for me because I'm giving them a whole bunch of money. You're not giving them a whole bunch of money. You're just giving them money that you owe them to make your product. That's all you're doing. So, so learning the language is good. Also, I think also too, what manufacturing will do also is allow you to see how much it's going to cost to make your product. Right? And then that's going to help you be able to figure out your profit margin and figure out, are you going to be B2B or are you going to be D2C? Are you going to be B2B, meaning are you going to sell your product to another business like a retailer in my case, which is a product? Or are you going to do D2C, which is direct to consumer, like on, Amazon or on your website, e-commerce, right? And a lot of times, and if you want to do a mixture of those, right? Or if you eventually want to be in, REI like me, is the, I'm so excited about this, y'all. I love this little blue jean thingy. Uh-oh, still got little pins in it. Get calm. I love this thingy. I love it. It's so cool. I love that I made it out of recycled materials. Look how cute it is. And then the back is like fire. You can't tell me this thing ain't fire in the back. Okay. I can't tell. I can't tell if you could, I don't know if you can see it. I hope you can. I'll show it to you right now. I think I already showed it to you, right? But anyways, here's the back. Fire. And I'm gonna put my logo in the center there. And then also I did this, what I did is I didn't do a zipper on this one, right? So here's a little flap that I'm gonna put the snaps on to hold the water bottle. And then inside, of course, it has my water bottle pocket, and then it has for all the other junk that you're gonna put in there. And then what I decided to do is just do like a little flap, right? And so maybe what I'll do is, I don't know, maybe I'll do 1 or 2 snaps, maybe? I don't know, we'll see. I almost like it without nothing. I love it, that's kind of cute. But I love it, it's too cute. What I love the most about it is that I'm using recycled materials, which is my favorite thing to do. I like to do a lot of upcycling things. I got a lot of little upcycling projects, so maybe I'll show y'all that. Maybe I'll show it on my personal channel and not on Conscious Gear because it ain't got nothing to do with Conscious Gear. So anyways, so knowing the language and everything like that will empower you with your manufacturers and be able to get your stuff done quicker. Yeah. Also will teach you, I feel like I learned a lot about the process in terms of manufacturing. Like I know everything from how to work with the manufacturers to make exactly what I want, but then also learning like, okay, they make this stuff for you. Okay, first of all, a couple of different things. Like when they're making your product for you, you might want to check in with them about what do they already have and what they don't already have in terms of the materials. Because sometimes they're going to have to go out and buy it. And then if they have to go out and buy it, sometimes that cost is going to be incurred on you because they have to buy it at a certain minimum. So for example, which is why like a lot of times you're like, oh my God, they have like a 5,000 minimum. Well, yeah, because they got to go out and get that particular fabric for you, and they can only get it at a, they have to buy a certain quantity to get a certain good rate, so they can make the product for you at the price that you've kind of negotiated, right? So many other little factors that's going on, and then that's why I say, really try to get to know your manufacturer and see what they already have, because perhaps they have something that's just as comparable. Like for instance, I wanted recycled materials. I thought originally we had discussions about me having to go purchase and have it sent to them, and then they end up having, they were doing some other projects that were requiring the same similar kind of material, and so they could get it wholesale, and so they were able to get it wholesale and do my hydration vest, and that was good because I almost thought, oh my God, if I have to, because yeah, I could be all day talking about manufacturing, but I'm gonna say this, like, if you have to worry about going to another company, buying the fabric, buying it at the minimum, having that minimum shipped to a manufacturer, making sure they received it, making sure they received the right thing, making sure that they do the right thing by that fabric to make your product, that's a lot of work. I ain't gonna lie, that's a lot of work. So that's why I kind of understand. That's why you might really want to shop around manufacturers and see who has almost everything that you want, and that they don't really have to go outside of their manufacturers to do anything for you, because then they can probably make it, and they can make it for you at the most cost-effective thing. So I really did want recycled materials, even though I was willing to go through the process, but then in the end I didn't have to. Thank you, Jesus. Because that would have been a nightmare. And then, so then you got all that, and then once it's done, girl, it's got to get from a foreign country to the U.S. And that's a whole process. It's a whole process. You got to pay money. Honestly, I know the process, but I just don't even try to memorize it. I mean, I know what it is, and I probably do have it memorized, but it's called forwarding, meaning that you have to understand that your stuff is coming from a foreign country, and in order for stuff to get imported into the U.S. has a lot of rules and regulations, and as a result, there's taxes and duties and shipping costs, and there's ports where things are inspected to make sure that it's not a bunch of drugs being smuggled into the U.S. And it costs money, and when things don't align, things are held up. When things don't align, sometimes you incur extra cost. When things aren't aligned, sometimes you don't get your shit, and maybe you get it and it's in bad shape. So it's like that is, or you don't get it all, which has happened to me, where I've ordered stuff and I didn't get it all. But then they wanted me to pay them. Like, why you want me to pay me for stuff that I didn't get? So, and then you got to know, then you have a big fight on your hand with the manufacturer. And so, yeah, nightmare. And my thing is, I never had a lot of money. So if I order something amount and you don't send me the whole amount, somehow something didn't happen right and I didn't get the whole amount, then I'm going to pay you for what I got, because I feel like that's fair. You figure the rest of that shit out, because I done paid for shipping, I done paid for duties, I done paid for forwarding, I done paid for the product, I done paid, and I done paid, and I done paid. I'm not paying for something that I didn't get. I'm having a little tip with somebody about that right now. But my thing is this: look, I never have a lot of money, so I can't be giving out extra money for stuff I don't have. But they do make you pay for stuff up front. Y'all know that. I don't know if you guys know that, but they do want you to pay for 100% of it before you even get it. I don't like that. Like, why should I give you all my money up front when you haven't even delivered anything to me? And so I struggle with that piece. But now I'm working with them. I'm at a level where we can negotiate stuff. So now I can say net 30, net 60. So, net 30, like 30, at least, 30 days after a shipment. That allows me to inspect it. That allows me to look at it and make sure I got what you said you was going to give me. And then pay you. So, and that's something you kind of graduate into. You're not going to happen right away. It depends on what you're doing. Like, for instance, if you're doing apparel, paying up front is not a big deal, because they know they know how to do that apparel. They do it well. They sent you a sample. They gonna send you exactly what they get. Maybe there might be a few things, a few errors, stuff like that. But for the most part, but when you're talking about really a specialty item where you're really dealing with something that requires it to be a certain way, paying for it up front can feel a little much, because you're like, hold on now. Hold on. Are you really going to deliver me what you said you're going to deliver me? So it's something to consider. So anyways, I just thought I would come on today. I've been long-winded as fuck. Oh shit, this is a long video. I'm going to get off. It's almost an hour long. So I'm going to get off. And I don't even know if I'll be able to upload this. Anyways, let us pray. Let us pray. At any rate, I'm just going to finish up my little vest. All I had to do is do the trimming on the outside of it. And I'm going to put the buckles on there. And then your girl's going to wear it. I will put a picture of it. Picture of me and the vest at the end of this video, so you can see what happened. Feel free to put questions below if you have other questions. And what I said I'll do is just like every Sunday, maybe just come on and talk to you guys about what I'm doing. Might as well do it in the office while I'm working on stuff because I can work and talk, at least partially, not totally. And I can connect with you and you can see what I'm doing over here at Conscious Gear. So have a beautiful day, beautiful people. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here with me. I really appreciate it. I hope you learned something. You probably have a lot of questions because a lot of my gibberish is gibberish. But yeah, be inspired, do you, and have fun. All right now, it's your girl Charlotte, and I'll see you outdoors. Take care now. Peace and love.